everyone, welcome back to Regency Faire. My name's Alyssa and I can't wait to get into today's project with you. Today we are going to be making a Regency inspired reticule. A reticule was a type of handbag that they used during it was predominantly popular during the Regency era, but today I'm going to be adapting it a little bit just to fit one of my Renaissance Fair costumes because I have been really needing bag options to add to my wardrobe, and I really loved the print on this fabric. So this is the reticule that we'll be making today. So it is this pentagon shape, and it has 5 sides. Traditionally in Regency era, they were 3-dimensional, so there would have been 4 sides. My reticule only has 2 sides, but I loved the idea of having like beads and tassels hanging from a bag, so I picked these really pretty stones and made a little tassel out of the thread that I used to hang them. And then I added a belt loop on the top, so it just fits nicely onto my belt so that it can hang from my waist. And then I added a drawstring just because I wanted it to be a little bit more period, so my drawstring so I can close it and have it be a little bit more secure. It's not entirely closed, but like if I turned it upside down, my phone probably wouldn't fall out of it. So that is what we are going to be making today, and I can't wait to show you all the steps so you can make your own. All right, let's get into it. I know it looks weird that I keep dabbing my hand, but I put a little bit of water on my hand so that I could activate the water-based pencil that I'm using to trace my pattern onto my fabric, and then cutting it out. Make sure that you have already ironed your fabric just so that you get a nice clean cut. This fabric was being a little stubborn in the fact that it has that like bend that it did not want to iron out no matter how much or how hot I pressed on it. But that's okay, we're gonna make it work. Now I'm trying to figure out what order I want my beads in. All of these beads are from previous projects, so luckily I had them on hand, but I couldn't decide between the clear being on the end or on the middle. But ultimately I ended up putting them with the orange on the ends just because I felt like the orange connected to the orange in the fabric a little bit better. Now I'm stringing those onto some embroidery thread. If you're struggling to get them onto the thread, like the threads keep coming apart, I just dipped it in a little bit of water and then twisted the fibers together just to make sure it went through the beads smoothly. So now you want to go ahead and clip your main fabric together with the right sides together so that the inside is facing out. And then I'm going back through and adding our beaded tassels that we just made in each of the 3 points of the bag that will be hanging free. The top 2 points will be used for the drawstring. So here we go. So here we are sewing it in. In this bag, I used about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. However, if I was going to do it again, I'd probably up the seam allowance to about 1/2 inch just to give myself a little bit more leeway with getting these tassels firmly secured. When sewing the panels together, I also started and stopped about 1 inch from the top seam just to give us room to be able to fold the drawstring over later. So now I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot in the excess tassel string as close as I can get it to that seam as possible, just to make sure that it's extra secured and is not going to pop through the seam if you tug on it. So now I'm going to go ahead and sew together my lining with the wrong sides together again, so that way when we finish it's inside out. Remember to start and stop this one about 1 inch from the top as well for the drawstring. So now I'm going to go ahead and clip the corners where those turns are going to be, just because it'll make it a little bit easier for us to turn it right side out when the time comes. So I'm trimming the corners that the 3 tassels would be in, and then trimming off the excess thread. Now for the fun part, we're going to turn our main fabric bag right side out completely, and then we're going to take that and tuck it inside our lining fabric so that the right sides of both fabrics are together. Make sure to tuck it all the way in and get the beads secured down in their little corners so that way we can line up this top edge. Now I'm carefully lining up the 2 top edges and making sure not to sew over all 4 pieces of fabric. Just make sure that it's the 2 so that you're stitching those pieces of fabric together. I managed to do this in like 1 straight line, but if you have to do it in 2 for each side of the bag, that's totally fine. I just like the extra security of having that corner, kind of the edges between the bags also sewn over, so you see me bending it right there to get across to the other side. And then make sure that you leave a gap along one of the lips of the fabric, like one of the sides. So you're going to see I'm going to skip some stitches and then restart instead of cutting my thread, just because it saves on thread. But we need to leave a gap so that way we can turn the bag right side out. So now I'm trimming all the excess threads and getting ready to feed it through the hole in the bag that we just left. Make sure you're careful not to like pull, because fabric can sometimes rip. It's unpredictable, so just be careful with how you're turning right side out, and then line it up and feed that inside as well so that the lining is inside the bag. I somehow didn't get footage of me making the loop for the drawstring, but all I did was I folded over about 1/2 inch of the top fabric that we had left a gap to make the channel for the drawstring, and then I used this nylon cording that I've helped feed it through the hole with a piece of wire, just because it helped it get through. But you can also use like a small safety pin or something else like that to make sure that it goes through the hole. And then I went ahead and trimmed it Then I added a belt loop to the back of the bag by using some extra fabric and making a little tube and then sewing that to the back of the bag. And I finished off the cording by burning the ends just to keep them from fraying. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope that now you can make a reticule inspired bag for your upcoming costume as well. I can't wait to see everything that you guys make with this. I'm going to try and include the pattern that I drafted and used for cutting out my bag shape, and I'll try and include that in the description below. But I am obsessed with this bag. I love the details that I managed to successfully achieve when it is not tightened over here with the drawstring. It's just a piece of rope that I knotted. But when it is not being cinched, I was very proud of myself because I got the pattern to match up for the most part. Like the oranges line up with the oranges and it goes straight down the back as well. So I was pretty proud of that, just like that small detail with pattern matching. So I can't wait to see what you guys all make. If you do make one, make sure to tag me so I can see it and share it with me on Instagram. That's where else you can find me. So if you like this video and want to see more random sewing tutorials / sew with me's or other Renaissance Fair type content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the like button below so you can see more from me in the future. And I can't wait to see you then. All right, bye!